Hello, everyone. We are starting a new podcast series, which we have just recently started, and this is Life in Progress, the personal and the professional stories. And the purpose of this new podcast is to bring in front of you a lot of expertise, a lot of insights from the people who have already achieved a lot in their life. Though we are already doing a podcast with our youngsters to get the fresh perspective about various topics, and that podcast we are doing for past so many months. If you are new to this channel, so definitely I will share the link of that podcast which we are doing with kids definitely in the description. But let's come back to this fresh series which we have started. And the purpose of this podcast, which I have told you, is to share with you the personal and professional life of those people who have achieved a lot. I'll not say only in the career domain, but yes, in all the domains in their life, be it a personal, professional, spiritual, in all the aspects. So, today, the person whom I'm just going to invite in a couple of minutes in front of all of you, he's a person, I'll not tell the name first, but he's the person whom I call a man with a magical golden box. Why I'm calling him like this? Because no matter what kind of questions you are asking to him, he is having answers of everything. And the range of the topics which I usually keep on asking him, it ranges from the business strategy, growth, value creation, and most important, identifying your full potential. That is his core area. If I talk about his professional journey, so it's been more than 4 decades into this domain. He has started many new ventures, many new companies, and today he would be talking few important points which are important for the younger generation. If you are thinking to start your startup, so listen this podcast till the end. You will get a lot of important points and beneficial points. If you are thinking to understand the business perspective, that how it has changed in the last 40 years or 4 decades, so definitely watch this episode till the end because he's going to share a lot about all these things. So I'm keeping your excitement alive and watch this episode. I'm going to welcome today Mr. Shakti Mukherjee. The people call him Coach Sam. I call him Shakti Sir. So without a further delay, let's welcome Shakti Sir to this new episode. Okay, so hello everyone. We have with us the person about whom I was talking to you for the last 1 minute. We have the coach Sam, and for me, the Shakti sir in front of all of us. So, though I have given just a little introduction of self, but sir, I'll just request you to give your introduction in your style that I want.
Wonderful. A lovely morning to all of you, and thank you, Mega, for having me
Thank you.
hosted on your show. I'm really grateful for that. And as an introduction, I think I'll say this, that in terms of coming on your show and being able to say something to people, I must say as an introduction also something that is meaningful and connected to the show. And in business terms, I will start with that first. In business terms, because I am a coach and a consultant and I run a consulting firm, I am a person who has traveled from his engineering days uh, as a shift engineer, then moved up the ladder in terms of becoming a project manager, a general manager, then a CEO, then a group CEO, then became an investor in an investment banking environment. And then when I touched 60, I started my full-time consulting, and here I am consulting and sharing this session with you. So as a journey, I say that I'm a person who has seen from the shop floor and the street to the boardroom. And that's the journey that has taught me a lot about life, how life is being led on a business platform and off a business platform. So that's what has made me. So as a person, I'm an engineer. I haven't got a formal MBA from any of these B schools, but my business learning has been all across the various assignments and the projects that I've done across my life. That's my short intro. I have a family of four, two sons, both married, both professional. All four of them are professionally engaged. My wife is a computer scientist. She is a professor in one of the universities. And here I am. I run my consulting practice with a few other partners who follow a similar principle of giving back whatever experience they've gathered in their lives.
Wonderful. So, sir, I'll just pick up from your introduction only.
Yeah.
You are telling that your professional career is so long, and what I could understand that it's almost more than a 4 decades in different capacities, as you are sharing just now. You started as a shop floor, and then to reach to investment director, MD, CEO, and many more such positions. But then you start, and then definitely you mentioned you started your own consultancy now. So I just want to understand, in this long span of more than 4 decades, what is the source of energy for Shakti sir? You are
That's a
having
good
a beautiful family, you have mentioned just now. So
Yes.
what pushes you forward? What motivates you so that we can understand it?
Interesting question. I think from the beginning, मेगा एक ये होता है कि हम लोग पढ़ते हैं कुछ सीखते हैं.
Hmm.
Learning is more or less common to all of us, whether
Yes.
we learn from books or school, colleges, people. Learning is there, but beyond learning there's something called the urge to explore and the urge to practice. So I have always had this urge to try for the unknown. I had once very early in my life had a nervous breakdown, and it had happened because of some accident of somebody burst a firecracker just when I was about to sleep. So it affected my nervous system, and I used to get jitters. I used to be like this. So if there's somebody or something that happened around me which was high in emotions, I used to immediately go into jitters. And I was in high school. I'm talking about class 9, 10. I was in high
That
school.
time when this incident happened, that time you
I
was
was
in
in,
high school.
I was in class 8 when that happened. And this after this jitter experience, anything exciting, anything high in emotions, I used to get into that mode. And then once what happened was, I was on a school bus coming home, and they were carrying a dead body. And जैसे राम नाम सत्य है कहते हैं, वो कहते कहते ले जा रहे थे, और खिड़की से मैंने वो देखा. And I started getting the jitter inside the bus. And I didn't know how to handle it. But I was in my ninth or 10th standard. And I had to figure it out. So I found that who will solve this problem for me? I don't know. We had gone to doctors, we'd been here and there. But then I quickly got off the bus, followed the procession or a small gathering of people who were going to the crematorium, went behind them with my school bag. I was still shivering like this, went inside the crematorium, sat till the whole process of cremation was over.
And
And
you was in
I
ninth
did,
standard. Oh my
I
God.
was in ninth standard, yes. And I did this number of times. I went and sat there. I cried. I shivered. I had the jitters, and it was very deep and intense inside me. And it used to happen, and happen. Then slowly, when I started this practice, it started going away. I wouldn't say it is completely gone. Probably it is there 0.001%. Someday something will happen, and with high emotions, it might trigger. So it might bring it back. And I think it has happened once or twice, but very little. It is almost not there. What I'm trying to say by this is that the urge to do something challenging, the urge to not being doing something normal, just पढ़ लिया सीख लिया और ठीक है जब opportunity आएगी देखी जाएगी. I didn't have that. I always had this urge to go and explore. So mental strength is one of the things that I had to deal with, as I said, early in the life. And over my experience of different jobs across geographies, I went and stayed in African countries for about 17 years, and then even otherwise traveled internationally a lot during my jobs in India as well. I've been across very challenging situations, very, very challenging situations. I have been in a civil war kind of situation in Ethiopia. I was in the center of a terrorist attack where I was one of the victims, bullets being fired all around. I don't know how I survived. I was in the middle of a very large industrial strike in Tanzania where they were about to kill me because I broke a labor union which was 12 years old. But I took all these assignments with a lot of learning, a lot of calm experience, I would say, that things would have happened. I am sitting there, I'm only learning and gaining out of the experience. And this is what I think I tell people, that book, knowledge, training, uh, all kinds of degrees and education is fine. But until and unless you are, hammered and chiseled and burnt and created by the process of experience, you don't see your real self, and you don't know exactly how far you can go. So I think that is the urge even today. I want to see what is next. We are from a generation of typewriters and carbon paper. You know, when I was a child, my dad used to have this लाल नील पेंसिल, बंगला में हम बोलते थे लाल नील पेंसिल, आधा उसमें ब्लू होते थे, आधा लाल होते थे, उससे करेक्शन करते थे, लिखते थे। हमारे जमाने में शॉर्ट हैंड लिखी जाती थी। कोई एक्सटेम्पोर बोले जा रहे हैं, डिक्टेशन सेक्रेटरी शॉर्ट हैंड में लिख रहे हैं, फिर वो टाइपराइट करेंगे, कार्बन कॉपी डाल। वी मूव फ्रॉम दैट एज टू नाउ instant messages and all kinds of stuff. So resilience and to be able to go through all the process and the urge to find more, I think that is the main thing.
Can I just reiterate the incident which you have just told to all of us, and even I was having little shivering when you was telling all of these things. Can I just understand in this way that whatever fear, whatever challenges are coming to us, just look into the eyes of that fear. Means जो कहते हैं ना कि बस उसकी आंखों में आंखें डाल के देखो and just try to understand that what that fear, what that challenge is trying to convey to you. That I could understand from the entire incident and entire story. That rather than running away from the situation, just be there,
Yeah,
stand there still, tall,
yeah,
straight, and just see what is coming to you and just take it, take it, take it.
yeah. And there'll be a lot of reactions, maybe, you know, sometimes if you're strong enough, you can take it. Like I remember when I picked up a job and left Delhi and went to Goa, I met a gentleman in my flight and he said, कहाँ जा रहे हो? मैं ये जा रहे हैं, यहाँ नौकरी मिली है मुझे, तो मैं जा रहा हूँ वहाँ। And it's a good job, good company, you know, for a foreign joint venture, so it's a damn good environment. जैसे आप कहाँ जा रहे हो वहां पर, ये तो अलग जगह है आपसे, एकदम लैंग्वेज भी अलग है, वुड यू? आई सेड ठीक है, देख लेते हैं। Believe me, when I went there, after about 2 weeks, I developed a kind of allergy. I used to stand under the shower and drops of water used to fall and my body used to swell. You know, जहां पानी टपकते थे सर पे, मान लो शावर ले रहा हूं मैं, यहाँ जहां भी टपक रहा है, immediate swelling हो जा रहा है. And that didn't go for about 7-8 days. And I went to a doctor there, and he said, पूछे हमसे कि my wife still hadn't joined me. So senior doctor, very senior doctor, तो उन्होंने पूछा मेरे से कि have you come here recently? मैंने फिर उनको बताया सब. So then he analyzed, he drew a line, अपने नाखून से एक ऐसे line खींचा उन्होंने. Immediately it got swollen, you know, where he drew a line with his nail. So he said, you have a nervous reaction. तो मैंने कहा क्यों हो रहा होगा, आई एम एडल्ट पर्सन, किस चीज का नर्वस रिएक्शन, अपने देश में काम करने, कुछ ऐसी तो कुछ है नहीं. He said new job, new place, new weather, new language, because गोवा में सारे कोंकणी लैंग्वेज बोल रहे हैं. You know, you have got into a very senior job, you haven't done many such senior jobs in the past, so all these things are working inside you. Yeah, you're fine and flat on the face, but something is working inside you. So I think this is a very important thing people have to realize, that you should be courageous. And as you said about the word fear, somebody taught me fear is false events appearing real. तो आपने भी सुना होगा. तो वो false events में walk in करो, face करो, जो भी reactions होगा उसको झेलो हमारे language में, and then you come out stronger.
100% true. Now, a very beautiful incident you have quoted कि आपके time में there used to be the corrective pencils and the typewriter. So the similar thing I want to ask just now, that on the basis of your experience, vast experience, in fact, I should say, you have seen the business. I'm asking a question for the people who have just started maybe their business, or who are thinking in their mind that they want to enter into the startup world. So I'm asking this question from their perspective, that you have seen the business from its core, from its heart. So what major differences do you feel in the business then, 40 years before, during that entire journey, and now? Means, is there the difference in the people who are doing the business, in the process, in the concept of business doing, or many other things have changed around the business?
Mega, I think it's a mixture of many things.
Okay.
It's not one thing that has happened, but principally, it would boil down to what I feel, and I may be giving entirely my version based out of my experience. There's a lot of I and me today. In our times, and I'm talking of the times when we started our career, there was a lot of joint effort. There was a lot of automatic teaming. इतने सारे I-ness या me-ness नहीं था. आज आप एक चीज देखते हो, and it's not good and bad. So I'm not classifying into good and bad. I'm just saying that that has changed, that has become different. People have a lot of personal branding conversation today, becoming an influencer, becoming a creator, becoming a blogger, becoming, there's a lot of creative ability that you are able to take out from yourself today, which is being branded and given shape and a description. तो आपके एक पहचान आप क्रिएट कर रहे हो आज आइनेस और मीनेस से, जो मेरे मेरे समझ से मैं जिस कर
which is the
उस समय
individualistic
there is a
pehchan.
lot of individual, absolutely, there's a lot of individualistic approach in today's life. It's very much like the joint family being broken into small families. हर एक के अपना घर होंगे, हम अपना घर करें. There's nothing wrong in it. Everybody has a dream to, but those days also was nice. They were all staying together. It was not bad and ugly. So it's just a change system. So coming back, what was different in those days in the working environment, if I remember, there was a sense of ownership. I belong somewhere. I felt that if I'm working somewhere, I belong somewhere. And I was struggling to be belonged. I was struggling to be recognized as somebody who's part of the team कि हाँ ये यहाँ इस पे है, इसको ये project दिया जाए, ये आगे बढ़ेगा, ये करे. That sense of belonging. Today, if somebody cracks up, you will explain to the person, you will help the person, HR will intervene. But the person has probably mentally decided this is not my place, I'll walk away. In our times, that opportunity, probably the volume of opportunity wasn't there, and the world was more like you either belong somewhere and people owned you, or you didn't, you were just not there. So आप देखे होंगे उस समय के long tenures भी होते थे. People used to be on 10, 15 years, 20 years on one job and being there.
And now
So
the people are switching their jobs just like that.
Absolutely. So I call it soulful ownership, not just ownership. You जो दिलो दिमाग से आप वहां प्रेजेंट हो, आपके वो कुर्सी आपके है, वहां पर जो काम आ रहा है वो आपके हैं, आपको डिलीवर करने हैं. That kind of a belongingness I probably miss today. I'm not saying it's extinct, but its volume has come down. In my experience, I see a lot of that is missing.
It's declining.
Yes, that's what I find. And a lot of talent has come up, a lot of new skills, talent, capabilities, all that has come out. But companies are now struggling. In my consulting business, I see that people are not sticking. The average tenure in the job is a couple of years, and they're struggling with that. Ki talent aaye ruke nahi gaye, aaye ruke nahi gaye. So that issue of talent management and retention has become a huge challenge today, which was earlier not so much, I would say.
Okay. So if I could try to understand from this, so ownership is declining, and because of ownership, there is less retention. And because there is less retention in the company, so the seasoned professionals are less in the company. They are getting a lot of fresh talents. They are getting a lot of new ideas, new minds, but the seasoned persons are less in the companies, and that could be the major difference in today's business and the earlier ways. Whatever you are saying just now. But
Yes,
again,
I think
yes,
yes.
yes, sir.
By and large, you see, the multinational environments are a little different. You have to understand that the multinational environments are different, and therefore I'm not referring particularly to the multinational environments who are able to retain people because of a lot of other things. Today you go to Google or some other place, I just taking Google for a heck of a name, that you go to these multinational environments not for a job, not just for that piece of work, for this break, that perquisite, this room, that breakaway game room, that thing, this thing. We didn't have all these conversations. It was काम करो, ये आपके job description है, that's it, that's the salary slip, period. That was that's the transition. So you have so many things now, IQ, EQ, this Q, it was all there, but we didn't describe it in so many words. We didn't talk about it in so many words. We talked about performance as one item, कि आपने आपका place of work में क्या काम किया. So that anchoring factor was one. Today there are too many things.
I can just remind with this example a beautiful incident. Like, for example, I'm going to get my subway ready, and it's not just the subway and the bun which I'm going to fit in there. How many different veggies I can put in there? How many different flavors I can put in there? So what extra I'm getting? I believe that is the thing which is attracting the people nowadays and more.
Very true. And I think human relationships, human relationship related issues which the HR professionals have to handle today is far more complex, far more complex.
True. But again, so as you have mentioned about that, a lot of young ideas are coming nowadays, and we call it that this is the era of startups. Many youngsters are coming with bright ideas, undoubtedly, with their new startups. So here I just want to earn that now everybody is looking for more, for extra. As you have also said that handling the human emotions is getting really tough nowadays. So I just want to know from your experience that are there any important tips for those youngsters, for all those people who want to just start their new business or their new startups, the tips that so that they are not feeling burnout, they are not getting disheartened by their initial setbacks, and despite of all the hardships, at least they are able to maintain their momentum. I'm not saying move to the next level, but at least maintain their momentum. They are not broke down. So any important tips for them?
Yes, look, there are again many things that one has to keep in mind. This urge to do something is again coming from that me and I thing. The creative part of you has woken up. The opportunities outside is now allowing you to express your creativity and create something which is commercially viable, and therefore you create a business which we call a startup. Now, about the burnout thing which you said, loss of energy, appetite to follow through what you started. If you're really serious and passionate, you're not going to leave it. You know, as a practitioner, that people who are really deep into something, they're not going to give up. They might be thrown off their track a few times, but they'll again climb up and do it because they're passionate about it. They can't leave it because they will otherwise not survive. So that's the first part about sticking on to the path. The second thing is about losing vision and getting burnt out. I have seen with my experience that a lot of these founders who they start with some things not correctly done. And where are these bits and pieces of correction that could possibly help them? One is, if you got a solid idea to work on, आपके आपके जो स्टार्टअप के आइडिया है इतना ही अहम है और इतना ही डीप है और इतना ही प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग नेचर के हैं कि it is it is a kick, and you have it now burning inside you कि जब तक मैं इस प्रॉब्लम को सॉल्व नहीं करूं मैं इसको छोड़ नहीं सकता. So you are married to this problem solving issue, not running a business and making money issue. I think this is a very important point you to understand.
Can I understand in this way that I'm eating, sleeping, crying, laughing, everything to that idea?
Yes, of course. But it's not an easy thing. Like, imagine some of these things are happening to people who have just come out of college, who doesn't even know how the real world operates. And they're suddenly picking up a startup idea and to start a business enterprise where there are additional challenges of so many things. I don't want to get into that long list of things that you need to do. But so emotionally, you're not still so mature. Your idea and problem solving nature, the technical nature, the social aspect of it may be good. That's triggering inside you. But emotionally, you're still not so mature. So you don't know how to retain a person. You don't know how to solve a problem. You don't know how to deal with a huge series of complexities. That's where burnout happens. So one piece of advice there to people is that do everything ethically, transparently, and with high degree of fairness. You know why? आप कहोगे ये तो बेसिक फंडामेंटल से होना तो चाहिए, लेकिन होते नहीं है. एंड इसके वजह से क्या होता है, यू कैरी अ लॉट ऑफ इमोशनल बर्डन, क्योंकि आप एक चीज फेयरली नहीं कर रहे हो. मेघा से मुझे ये चीज छुपाना है. आप एथिकली नहीं कर रहे हो, तो मेघा के साथ जो स्टैंडर्ड मेंटेन कर रहा हूँ किसी और के साथ मेंटेन नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ. आप ट्रांसपेरेंटली नहीं कर रहे हो, तो मेघा के साथ जो चीज नहीं शेयर किया कि कोई और बता दिया कि सर आपने तो ये कहा था मुझे. So, when you do this fairly, transparently, and with ethics, your emotional burden is far less. You're dealing with only the problem sets, which is the real life problem. But your emotional burdening is much less and your burnout is much less. Your burnout will be physical time. You have to burn hours. Of course, there is no escape from there. There's no escape from there. And one thing I spoke about was the problem solving thing, so that you're solving a real problem in society. वो एकदम कहीं से भी आपने उठा के लाया उस प्रॉब्लम को सीरियसली सॉल्व कर रहे हो तो आप लगे हो. You will not leave it. Then do things fairly, ethically, transparent. The third thing that comes to me is that don't run for financial valuation. Then you lose your focus. Because first you started not with finance in mind. First you started with an idea and you wanted to take the idea to the world. succeed there first, get married to that idea and that problem solving first properly, till your unit economics is very well proven, you're able to excite others to come and invest in you. That is the time go and raise capital, because otherwise what will happen is you will go out too fast to grow. Actually, there is no rationale for that growth. Try to answer that question. Why are some companies growing abnormally and then falling at a similarly abnormally negative rate?
Yes.
Who has told them? Who's holding a gun? You are holding the gun at yourself. So I think these are some of the things, because I've been in the investment side of businesses. I've been working with one of the largest funds in the world. And so I've seen a lot of these businesses coming and having conversations about seeking investments. So this is how we evaluate businesses and see how there's somebody who's going to last and somebody who's not going to last get burnt out.
A beautiful example is coming to my mind, and I believe the people who are married, they can understand this. It is always said that the initial few years of marriage are actually challenging. If you are running too fast in initial those years, because a lot of challenges will keep on coming, handling the social issues, settling to the new environment, getting settled with the new partner, and many things. You are going to meet with new people. So I believe the same thing is getting to be happened with the new business when you are going to enter. And I believe that situation could be true for the people who are entering to new career domain. if it
Very,
is
very,
not
very,
if
very
it
true.
is not the business, if they
Yeah,
are entering to a new career domain, they'll also face such kind of challenges. So one very good word I picked up from your description, that is emotional mastery, which is coming again and again. That is the stuff which everyone needs to master, because emotions won't stop coming. The nature of the emotion will keep on changing during the course of time, but emotions will keep on coming to, they will keep on bombarding at you. So the more resilient you are in handling those emotions, probably it will be easier for everyone to come out of every kind of challenge. That I could understand from all the description.
very, very true, Mega. Very true. Very true. And the only way fairness and ethics helps is to reduce that emotional burden to as much as possible. You will have those things coming up and down because your emotional maturity is also growing as you grow.
Yeah,
But if you start on a fair ground, level ground, you'll do better.
true. Now, sir, I'm coming to your actual work, because I have seen still you are handling two different companies. You have started the Procon, and you have also started the Action Zen. And I've seen a lot about all those two consultancies. But one very good thing which I found common between these two setups is you always talk about the full potential. And that words is really fascinating to me. So I want to understand, and I believe that could be the question from everyone who is watching this, that how can me and the other people like me as well, they can understand that what is the full potential, and how can somebody move into the full potential zone? That I believe everybody wants to understand, because
I think
everybody wants to understand their full potential.
I think this is a very valid question in terms of the whole domain of performance and performance management. If you talk about performance, the first thing is किस चीज की performance.
Hmm.
तो qualitative एक बात आ जाती है.
Yes.
Performance is a qualitative word.
Hmm.
How good am I? Am I comparable to somebody, something, etc., etc., right? So full potential is a concept.
Hmm.
Full potential basically is a concept. In English words is very easy to understand. Full is full, potential is
Ah,
potential, right? It's very easy to understand. Now, how do you bring that context to your life, personal life, and the working life that you have? It is true for large businesses, small businesses, founders, CEOs, everybody. It is true for everybody. It's even
can
true
it
for
uh, if, can it be applied to a normal person who just
absolutely,
want to be have full potential with themselves only? Forget about
absolutely,
anyone. I just want to
absolutely,
have my full potential for myself.
absolutely, absolutely. And that's where I was wanting to start the conversation with and tell you that charity begins at home is the old thing that we know. The full potential concept before it goes to business, I would like to talk about. बचपन में हमने देखे होंगे बच्चे जब बड़े होते हैं थोड़ी सी ऊंचाई चढ़ के वहां से कूदते हैं. एक
Hmm.
नॉर्मल स्टैंडर्ड गेम है. हमने सब खेले हैं उसको. और ये कूदते कूदते आप देखोगे कोई इन्हीं में से थोड़ा सा ऊपर और चढ़ रहा है.
Hmm.
थोड़ा सा डेयरिंग और हो रहा है. बाकी लोग चले गए हैं. बाकी उनको बोल रहे हैं यार तू गिर जाएगा, लग जाएगी, ये हो जाएगा, हो जाएगा. But that person, whoever it is challenging himself or herself to do something more than the rest of them are doing. Reason क्या है, हम उस पे नहीं जाते हैं अभी, because it's too early in the age. What is triggering that behavior is another story.
और शायद उस बच्चे को भी नहीं पता कि उसका रीजन क्या है.
Absolutely. वो कर रहा है. अभी करते 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 maybe sometime that person might fall and break a leg also, injure himself or herself also. But the person will again repeat doing the thing. You've seen it when you've brought up kids or you've seen so many kids in your life. And this is universal across the world. This would have happened. Why is that happening? Why is that happening is because there is that inner urge inside all of us to do something more. We don't know the definition of the more, and we don't know the definition of that something. How much to go and what to get, we don't know, but we know that there is something beyond. This concept of having something beyond is what we are talking about, full potential. Imagine now that you're playing cricket in the local Nukkar wali cricket ki team, and you're winning games, you're scoring good runs, your pattern of playing has been set, people appreciate, clap, jitne bhi 10-15 log hote hain wo ho raha, and every time, every match you're winning. And you have inside you an urge to now go further and get into bigger leagues and probably play for the country or wherever. What would you do? There's this famous book written by Marshall Goldsmith, that what brought you here will not take you there. The concept is this, that if you practice being that Nukkar wala cricketer, you will never be able to play the league game. Because the tricks and techniques and the complexities are different. You need to do something beyond what you did earlier. The familiar patterns of your Nukkar is no longer familiar pattern of the league. Everything becomes unpredictable. Now, if you want to prepare yourself for playing all the unpredictable nature of games that life throws at you, you have to practice being a different self than you are, right? अब उसकी ऊंचाई कहां तक है? फुल पोटेंशियल की कोई ऊंचाई नहीं होती. फुल पोटेंशियल therefore is a hypothetical concept of stretching yourself as much as you can stretch the rubber band till it breaks. So if you can
call it a 3D concept? It's
a multi-dimensional concept. It actually improves you all around from every aspect of yourself. How to deal with people, how to behave yourself, how to think, how to conduct, how to react, how to discipline yourself, how to take decisions, everything. Now, if you are really programming yourself over a period of time methodically to do something more than 10 people that you meet every day, none of them are doing, obviously you're moving towards something beyond. And then you land yourself into a different circuit of people and then start observing that group's behavior and go beyond. This is also the principle of outliers. Bell curve के बाहर जो होते हैं, bell curve में natural distribution को cover करते हैं, जो थोड़ा सा natural behavior से अलग है, extra है, वो bell curve से बाहर है. So this is where the full potential concept comes from. Now I will take you to practicing it business life or any other life. A famous physicist called Dr. Eliyahu Goldratt wrote that famous book called The Goal, and he wrote a series of books around the principal fundamental factor that he taught us about was the theory of constraints. और ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मुद्दा है मेगा, इस बात को ध्यान में रखिएगा, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मुद्दा है आगे अब जो लोग प्रैक्टिस करना चाहे टुवर्ड्स self quality improvement and improving their businesses or startups or whatever. The theory of constraints is simple, that you have a value stream that you are serving. Your set of actions are divided into some sub actions. Now, in that sub action, something is holding you up in terms of your chain of performance. कोई एक चीज उसमें होगा जो जिसकी performance factor बाकी blocks से कम होंगे. Give you an example. फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट में डॉक्यूमेंट प्रोसेसिंग हो रहा है. मान लीजिए आपने जाके चीफ फाइनेंशियल ऑफिसर से पूछा, आपने बोला आपके डिपार्टमेंट में क्या स्पीड से डॉक्यूमेंट प्रोसेसिंग होता है? उन्होंने बोल दिया 200 डॉक्यूमेंट पर आवर. एक फिगर बता रहा हूँ. Now, if you go down and do a desk-to-desk workflow analysis, you might see that there is some desk where there is a pile-up of papers for some reason. The computer is slow, the desk is not scientific, the person is maybe not well trained or new or something. I don't know, you don't know, but something is happening. Rest of the department, rest of the tables maybe has the capacity to process 500 or 600 documents per hour. But it is because of this table, the throughput of the department is becoming 200 documents per year. So you have a constraint there. The theory of constraints tells you in simple words to attack this constraint and remove this constraint out of the path before you do anything else. Now, if you are talking about performance improvement, you have limited time, limited effort. What are you going to focus on for improvement? This is a common question everybody asks, but people get lost. वो improvement game में लग जाते हैं without identifying what is the real constraint.
अगर मुझे पता ही नहीं है
पता
कि
ही नहीं.
पता ही नहीं मुझे, means
Exactly.
I'm not even having that vision to go to that desk to desk and to able to understand. Maybe I'm not having that expertise, maybe I'm not having that intent, or maybe I'm not willing to go to desk. Maybe I've just delegated that work to someone else. That person is also least interested in
Right.
doing that.
Right.
तो मुझे तो अभी ये समझ ही नहीं आ रहा कि मुझे फोकस कहाँ करना है, and I
Right.
believe majority of the people will get lost there.
Yes. So this is an important thing that Dr. Goldratt taught us, is that if you have to improve something, your energy has to be given some. We say that we must go to the low hanging fruit, and these are all terminologies we loosely use without thinking much. But the moment you do the theory of constraints thinking in your mind, next time you want to improve something, you will first observe, you will study, and then you will go to address. And the Japanese system of continuous improvement has always been doing this. Everyday basis, they go to the workplace, they study what is happening, and everybody is together. So, सामूहिक रूप से improvement हो रहा है because you are removing constraints every time when you are observing a constraint. And then you can talk about a holistic improvement. So the theory of constraint is the fundamental block of building full potential. Because full potential क्या है आपको तो पता भी नहीं है. So unless you remove the constraints, so departments after department, and when the departments put together a whole company, they don't know which way they are possibly able to go. If you walk into a room with all your CXOs and ask them, भाई हम कितना बिजनेस कर लेंगे, वो अगला 3 4 5 साल के कुछ प्रोजेक्शंस लिखेंगे, क्योंकि based on their past experience they're going to project. If somebody is very smart and very different in the room, he or she might say that, no, why should we just follow the past? We will also do this and we'll also do that. Okay, that also has a limitation. So you had A, which was just a projection from the past. Now you have A plus B, a little bit of innovation. But full potential is beyond that, is very imaginative, is very far-fetched. It's like a village boy going to a village school and saying, I will land on the moon, I will put my foot down on the moon. He doesn't even know what is going on. I'm talking about moon because we had a great story to share with everybody yesterday, and all of us are proud about that. Now, but I'm saying, if you don't have that pursuit from inside you as an individual or collectively, the full potential concept is not going to work. So therefore, you have to bring all these theory of constant thinking in everything that you do. So if you, I'll just finish this saying, now that Chandrayaan-3 has landed on the moon, you're not only hearing success stories about Chandrayaan-3, but a lot of the scientists are talking about, we did a very thorough analysis of what failed in Chandrayaan-2. Now, which is also a common thing, failure mode and effect analysis, which is a very common thing that we do. But the theory of constraint is also related to that. Why is it not working? Where is the constraint? What is failing? That will show you a higher orbit. That, अरे हम तो ये भी नहीं सोचे थे. So full potential is a concept which stretches your imagination and drives you there. But you can't do it alone. You can't do it alone because you need somebody who will really poke you and provoke you and motivate you and slap you and kick you and at the same time love you and hug you to take you there. You need a lot of propulsion energy to go there. That's why you see the average bell curve is flat. It's not a very peak curve, it's a little flattish. It's because of that factor.
And I can just correlate your initial replies with this reply, that in order to just explore your full potential, the first and foremost thing, you have to come out of that I-ness and me-ness. Because
Yes.
if I'm into that I-ness and me-ness, I believe I won't be able to,
No, it's not
understand
possible.
the meaning.
Yeah, it'll not be possible.
Okay, that was phenomenally described, full potential, and I believe that all those who are listening and watching this, they can at least get some glimpse about this word few potential, and if they want to know more about it, they can certainly connect with you. I'll give your website details and other details in the description section.
Oh, thank
So
you.
definitely we are learning a lot from this discussion. Now I want to just ask a little personal question here. We have listened a lot about your initial phase when you was in 8th grade, 10th grade, that strong jitter and everything. But now I want to know that in the entire professional careers, anytime that you felt that you are feeling low, or anytime you felt in the life that I wish that if I knew it earlier, if I knew earlier what is my full potential, so probably I could be somewhere else in the life. Did you feel any time like that ever?
Sure, Megha. I've definitely felt it. I don't know about others, but I believe life is complex, and one who has lived a little longer life, like someone like me, past 60,
We have to learn a lot from you, sir.
they
Lot.
have but people like us or people older than me, they've obviously seen more life than those who haven't yet gone through those decades. The reason I say this is that life is always not going to be a pleasant journey. It's not possible. It's never possible. So all of us must know that, and particularly the youngsters, they must know this. Life is not the glittery pages of social media. That is absolutely a misleading phenomena that people are getting attracted to, attached to, and hooked on to, believing that glitz and fame and shine is there to stay, and if I get it once, it'll never go away. It doesn't happen like that, right? Now, I'm not talking about wealthy people. I'm not talking about very healthy people. I'm not talking about the typical outliers. I'm talking about the general mass of people. You cannot achieve, you cannot achieve anything in life all by yourself unless you're a solo person, a creator of sorts who's very solo in nature, a scientist, a poet, a literature. You know, those people who simply sit and create, an artist. That's a very creative profession, and the pursuit is, it is like a fountain which comes out from yourself and disseminates, and you're able to give. But other than that, most of life is collaborative in nature. You know, it is all collaborative in nature. And that I told you earlier about the soulful ownership. The soulful ownership was all about collaboration.
Hmm.
You know, it like in those days, people could bunk a class and somebody could give a proxy. In today's digital age, that's not possible. So possibly some pranks were played earlier in that collaborative nature. Today it's not possible.
We
And
have
in
done
that
that a lot in classes.
yeah, we've all done it a lot. Now, in that collaborative nature, the first set of people around you, if you're married, your spouse, kids, if you're not married, your parents and siblings, and if these two are not there, your immediate close friends, these are your fallback options for everything. You know, when you're low, you're sitting somewhere, and somebody will come and push you from the back. क्या हो गया? क्यों ऐसे बैठे हो? उठो, मुंह क्यों लटका के बैठे हो? You know, stuff like that. Somebody is there to ask you a question. If that question is not asked, it's going to go inside you and precipitate inside. You might go into a depression. You might not be able to manage yourself. You might not be able to help yourself. And I want to bring one point here in the sense of not just family members, people who don't have anybody. Let's say there are some set of people who just don't have anybody to look at. They
Hmm.
might be able to randomly go to somebody whom they believe can help, a sort of a mentor, guide, anybody. You know, I have seen people going to a temple and asking the priest there, an elderly priest there, कि बाबा मुझको बता दो, या पीर बाबा के गए वहां गए जाके बैठ गए, कहीं भी गए गए बैठ गए, just to get that support which is missing inside oneself. So I think there is no question about family support and family neighborhood around the growth period and the managing the difficulty period. They come out with brilliant suggestions. They come out with, because they know you, they know what is going to work. They can give you that fillip that works. So there is no question about this. And I just wanted to add that that context of bringing a mentor into this. Morning I was talking to somebody who's stuck up as a CEO in one country where there has been a coup. So the government is not there, and you know, he's in a mess there.
Hmm.
He has had to change a job. His children, fortunately, are in two different colleges overseas, so he doesn't have to bother about the kids. So he and his wife there, but he has nobody to talk to. He has nobody, and he says, "Ki I have dialed you because I know you're my permanent mentor. I just want this help." And I spoke to him simple things, which to me was simple, probably to him was because he kept on thanking me profusely till I finished the call, which means that he must have got some sutra of help which has solved some of his problems. I believe so. And this is where family, friends, mentors come to immense use when you are in mental distress. You're not able to handle situations and the best of yourself is not coming out.
True, 100% true. And sometimes the mentors and the coaches, they even do not know what they have given to the other person.
Yes.
Probably they have not given it intentionally.
Yes.
And what I can assume or I can feel that the persons who would be listening this entire discussion, probably this replies whatever you are giving and this discussion that could may hit someone's mind if the person is sitting in a low mood or maybe finding a solutions of anything. So
Yes.
sometimes unintentionally as well, you can give so many things to the other person. Maybe
Absolutely.
you are not
Absolutely.
thinking about that.
Absolutely. Mega, with what happens is, you've seen a lot of professional life yourself. You've done a lot of counseling, you do a lot of counseling, you come across a lot of people and their people problems. What happens is with experience, if you're mindful during the process of gathering experience, mindful in the sense, देखो, ये mindful वाला शब्द भी बड़ा लेटेस्ट है in that sense. पहले हमारे जमाने में इतना mindful लोग नहीं कहते थे,
हाँ.
आजकल कहते हैं. बिकॉज क्या होता था, एक्सपीरियंस आप गैदर कर लिए, उस समय जब गैदर कर रहे हो आपको उस एक्सपीरियंस की वैल्यू पता नहीं चल रहा है, क्योंकि उस समय आपके लिए वो काम है, आप काम कर रहे हो और रो रहे हो, रो पीट के काम कर रहे हो, यार मुझसे ये भी करा रहे हैं, मुझसे ये भी करा है. You change two jobs and suddenly you realize, अरे उस समय तो मैंने ये सीखा था. That point in time you value that and say it's an experience, right? Now that, let's say we've added 1 decade, 2 decade, 3 decade, 4 decade, 5 decade. After some time, what happens, Mega, is that you see patterns automatically in front of you. The value of experience comes when you start seeing patterns. Otherwise it's very difficult to explain what is experience. आपको
100%.
पता चल जाता कि ये इस रास्ते पे जा रहा है, बिकॉज वो पैटर्न दिख गया है. बिहेवियरल पैटर्न हो, फंक्शनल पैटर्न हो, ऑपरेशनल पैटर्न हो, सिस्टम पैटर्न हो, जैसे भी हो, it is showing you, and you possibly know that, well, this is heading this way. You don't want it, but it's heading this way.
100% true. There are always patterns which you are rightly mentioning. There is a pattern of success and there is a pattern of failure. There is a pattern of low and there is a pattern of high. There is a
Absolutely.
pattern in everything. The person just need little mindfulness, even I'll use this word, to observe those patterns. That is 100% true. And now I want to ask the question which is very close to me, that I want to ask. One thing, and you can deny even to answer this question if you do not want, but I want to ask one thing which you feel that I will do 100%. I will do certainly no matters what. This is the dream which has to be completed. And I cannot sit without completing this dream. One thing which you feel,
You said one thing.
one thing which is yet to be completed.
Probably writing a book. I think that is what is something which is deep inside me, and I have been asked several times from my wife, daughter-in-laws, friends, that you got all these experiences and stories inside you. Why don't you let it out? It's one thing to have the stories and another art to let it out. So probably I'm still weak in that art where I need some complementing support to take it out. Yeah, probably that is something very, very deep inside me, wanting
Wow,
to take it out.
wow, wonderful, wonderful reply, sir. And if I can help you out in completing that dream, I would be blessed. I will really feel blessed to do that.
Wonderful. We can definitely talk about that. I would love to discuss this with you.
And I do not feel to end this entire conversation, but yes, I have to. And I'm quickly going through some interesting section of this discussion, which is my rapid fire section. So, are you ready, sir, for this rapid fire section?
Sure, sure.
I'll
I hope
ask
so.
you a question,
Yeah.
and you have to reply to that question in just one word. I just need one word. That's it. for those questions. So I'm starting my rapid fire. That's it. The first question is, passion for you is?
Serving.
What is success for you?
Service.
Freedom. Anything which
Freedom
comes.
itself is an answer, I think. I think freedom, if you ask me, freedom is the answer. Where you would not be, one word is freedom. I mean, the answer to freedom is freedom. I don't have anything, any other way to describe it.
Great. The love of life.
Family.
And Shakti sir is?
Service.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So I could understand whatever you have described till now. The main objective, why I asked this, I got so many points to conclude this session. So the thing which I'm listening for the past many years, maybe since childhood, that be a good servant first. And to, in all the questions, if I try to extract the gist of all those questions and whatever informations, whatever incidents you have shared, so one word is highly prompt in all the answers, and that was service. And that is the reason I was having this rapid fire section. Service was coming again and again.
Thank
And
you.
one beautiful statement which you have mentioned, that soulful, it should be a soulful act. It should be a mindful act. We have to integrate everything. There are certain beats which are scattered all over, and a mindful person, when start doing anything, the person will just collect all the beats, try to arrange it in a proper fashion so that it comes out to be a beautiful necklace or a beautiful neck piece. I believe that is the thing which you have narrated in the entire discussions today. So if I missed anything, and if you feel that, yes, this is the point of advice which is yet to be shared, and your final words for this discussion.
I don't think you've missed anything, but you've given me an opportunity to make a closing remark. I must tell you this, that, when I hear this Atmanirbhar word buzzing around us, there's a lot of criticism to this word because they see the political side of using this word by politicians. I see it a constructive nation building word. Okay. I don't see it wrong. I don't see that people, when they want to be Atmanirbhar, there is anything wrong about it. So I want to appeal to every youngster, and particularly from middle school age, when your senses start evolving and you start relating to things, आप लोग चीजें सीख रहे हो, अपनी पहचान होनी बहुत जरूरी है. You must know who you are. Don't get initiated into anything without your understanding. वो जो soulful शब्द है, ये कुछ intuitive भी है, अंदर से आ रहा है. There is something which is pre-programmed inside you, which is divine, which you and I cannot control. So my request to everybody who is learning and a learner, maybe he is or she is a 50-year-old or a 60-year-old also. Our journey of learning never ends.
Never ends.
If you are able to learn, you must be able to contribute. So your learning should be contributive. It should not be exploitative. If your learning is only to make wealth, it's exploiting. If it's contributive, then you're learning, you're producing something, of course you're earning, but it's productive. आत्मनिर्भरता उसी से उभर के आता है. You cannot be Atmanirbhar as a society unless you are collaborative and contributive in your personal nature. हमारे बचपन में स्कूल में किताब होती थी, उसके नाम होता था moral science.
Moral science.
Today there is no moral science. So we are governed by our own consciousness, and righteousness all comes from whatever we come across in the society. It's very hard. There's a lot of distraction. So my appeal to everybody via this program is, don't get distracted. Don't pick up anything and everything till your soul contributes to it and you really want to subscribe to it. And be productive. Don't be exploitative in nature. आप कुछ टेबल पे रखोगे तो कुछ आएगा.
Wonderful. And I believe this conversation will not gonna end, because this is a continuous exchange of energy. This is not just words which I'm asking you, you are replying. That's a continuous and non-stop exchange of energy. And as we all have heard in our science and everything, that energy will never be destroyed. It will only be converted from one form to other form. So the same thing is happening here in this discussion. We are creating some energies which would be dissipating further and would be created, would be converted in some other forms. That is the sole purpose of this discussion. And after this 40-50 minutes of discussion, I am also using this word soul and soulful. So that is the impact, that is the vibration which I was telling just few
Thank
minutes
you.
before. Thank you so much, sir, for finding this time and giving such a wonderful insight to all of us. Thank you so much.
I'm grateful. I'm grateful to you for creating this podcast and having me on board. Thank you. I hope it makes some change to the youngsters. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank you.